That's not how you're pushing the conversation.
It makes a lot of the...
Also, again, that this also brings the idea of consistency is very key.
Yes.
And I always tell people, repetition is your reputation.
Ooh, repetition is your reputation.
Repetition builds reputation.
Yeah.
None of it was real.
Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 42 of the 30% podcast. And we have a special one because we are joined. Oh, wait, I forgot to even introduce my co-host, Sam.
That's fine. Every single
I
time
always do this. It's like a running joke. But
it's not a running joke. Let's not make it a thing.
if you can hear laughter in the background, that's because we are joined by the legendary, the much acclaimed, the one and only Antoneosoul.
He's afraid of something. He's wearing a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, why are you wearing a bulletproof vest?
Because the way when I got the pin to be
you
here,
thought you might want to be
I was
safe.
like, this place is
But
dodgy.
I mean, no. Well,
Nah.
someone could get.
What else did you see in my
giving-
car? You saw something else in my car.
What?
I
No, I
didn't
didn't.
know.
You saw something in my car and you were like,
Oh
hey?
yeah. He's got.
I even
This
carried
guy's
a
carrying
rungu.
weapons.
You carried
I
a
was like,
rungu.
a weapon. I was like, this place-
doesn't trust
So
us.
you're part of the people who actually buy those rungus on the road.
yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, because me, I usually wonder which demographic is buying these rungus.
So let me be honest. It's people who it's millennials
who don't
sort
trust.
Of are trying to.
Yeah.
The thing about
Trust
millennials
issues.
is so a lot of times we have like a sort of cultural identity
You mean trust?
crisis.
You
Yeah.
mean trust issues?
CIC. So you feel like, maybe I'm trying to get in tandem with like my culture, and Maasai culture is the one being sold in the streets. So let me own something.
Maasai culture seems to be the culture of protection. It's like
But
that's
FYI, those people who sell those rungus, none of them is ever Maasai. Ever.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought
Who are
because one time I bought a walking stick and a rungu because that guy was like a hustler. But also when I was sending the money, please, it was my relative, and my relative like standing there by the side huko, making sure this guy also didn't con him. So the guy
that's
selling was
great.
Kisi. The guy I'm paying the money to was a Mwangi. I was like, yeah, you guys don't play with money.
Yes,
Anyway,
yeah.
thank you
Yo,
for having me on the 30%
Have you just
podcast.
watched Top Boy? Because, like, why are you in a bulletproof vest right
No,
now?
by the way, no. Top Boy is a preserve of every Nairobian who's trying to speak with a British accent.
You get me, fam. You get me,
Yeah,
blood.
can I get if you hear anyone do that, just know they've just watched Top Boy.
In a
Story
bit.
of the day, I have never watched an episode of Top Boy.
Neither have I.
How have you guys not watched Top Boy?
Kwani is a basic need.
It is, man. Top Boy is really good.
What kind of shows do I watch?
I
Now I'm watching Spy Ops.
Spy Ops. I haven't seen Spy Ops.
It's about the intricacies, the behind the scenes of all these.
That's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
For
I have it saved
example,
on
how
my list.
the Taliban, how they ended up killing,
Osama.
the
The
Taliban.
Taliban.
Osama.
Yeah.
How the guy who tried to kill the Pope and
Oh, that happened.
John Paul.
Yeah, Pope
II,
John Paul.
And how it was actually. I don't want to spoil for people, but how it was actually.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
history,
It was
so you're not
actually-
spoiling.
No. It's not written anywhere. It's not written anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, him nearly being assassinated was everywhere.
Yes.
But the story behind it, there was basically a warning shot from the mafia who are like, we gave you guys, the Vatican, our money. Stop fucking with our money. Are we allowed to curse here?
You are very
Stop
much
fucking,
allowed.
fucking with our money. This is a warning shot. So he shot 3 times. And the third one would have killed him. So we want you guys to hand over back our money.
Oh, really?
Yes, so
How
it's the
come
mafia and the Vatican. So I mean,
Mafia.
the
very
mafia is
those are the
always...
things I
Because
like.
even the mafia, like, they're also supposedly behind JFK.
The mafia is supposedly behind everything.
The mafia
even
is-
the music industry.
the mafia is
behind.
supposedly behind a lot of elections, especially in Africa.
No, elections for...
I mean,
if
yeah.
you-
So let's not even like
the
let's
mafia rhymes
stop
with CIA.
being surprised by these things.
That's great. Speaking of, this is a very loose. Speaking of mafia, speaking of...
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, speaking of mafia, and then somehow link it to Mungiki and somehow link that to dreadlocks.
No,
but
I know.
It's
First
just
and foremost, they're not called dreadlocks. These are Rastas.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Yes, dreadlocks
Please.
is a name that was used by white people to the colonialists so they could instill fear on people who don't have dreadlocks. And anybody who has Drasta is a dreadlocks. Like those are dreadlocks. That you should dread them. It comes from the word dread.
Oh, wow.
Fear people with locks. That's where the name comes from.
So you don't call them dreads?
No, I don't. I'm not. I'm Rasta. But if anybody calls me the streets Rasta, I'm okay.
But they always
But
do. No, but for me, they always call me Ras, and I'm like, I don't know why. I just
Ras.
feel like the least Ras out there, man.
But you have
But
Rastas
Afam-
on your head.
I guess I do.
you don't give Ras energy,
I
bro.
don't give Ras energy.
It's like people calling you guys machoine. I mean,
All right. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
He says as he wears shades
All right.
indoors, first of all.
Exactly.
By the way,
That's the most pretentious thing
I've
you can
been
possibly
trying to be nice, but you guys are taking me there. I thought that this very organized podcast would have like, today I'd probably be on video, so I dressed up to the nines.
Oh, no,
Little
listen, we are purists over here. This is a
Purists.
podcast.
Purists.
It is an audio experience,
Is
an
that what
audio adventure.
Ugandans call themselves being on a budget? Purists. Wow.
Yo.
Shout out
It
to all
must
our
be nice.
Ugandans out
We
there.
will not be
listening.
taking shots at you. Do a podcast.
You
Don't
know
let's
how
start taking
you know
shots at
how
your
Kid the
podcast also.
calligraph are shooting at Tanzania. So that will start like a podcast.
He's the one who
with
used the word
Uganda.
purist.
So this is my fault.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, like people who call themselves minimalist, and I'm like, no, bro, you're broke.
like
I consider myself a minimalist
No,
as
you're
well.
broke. You don't have money.
You don't have to have money
No,
to be
no,
a
no.
minimalist.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
That's not the point of minimalism. Is not because there's not enough
I
money
know
to
there's the
afford,
whole idea
to
of
afford things.
mental or whatever. Let me tell you can be African and be a minimalist. Bro, with all these things, first with the fact that as an African, you're close to death every single minute. Bro, own things and enjoy your life. Stop
Own
this
thing-
whole I'm a minimalist.
own things and
You just want
enjoy
to
your
move
life.
out quickly and you don't have money.
So I
Period.
guess
Own
we wanted
things
to
and
ask,
enjoy your
like,
life.
why did you want to have locks? I know this might be a weird question to ask,
Not
but
locks. Want to have rastas.
oh, Rastas. Sorry, pardon
What
me.
do you call
Oh
them?
my
locks
Since
are
they're not
okay.
Oh,
locks.
locks is
Locks is
fine.
okay. It's just like
Dreadlocks is
dread.
the problem. Yeah.
You just don't like the dreads.
Like
So
the
locks.
First of all,
Dreads.
how long have you had them?
So they're now 8 years old. Actually, September.
80.
And the
Years
cover of your
old.
first album, you had two names.
I had Afro.
That was an Af.
Yeah, Starboard.
Had you
I had
thought?
an Afro.
Had you thought about locks? That I was going to say dreadlocks. Had you thought about locks then?
I've always wanted to have locks, but I think the issue was I knew my mom would not allow me. Like my parents would not
Been
allow
there,
me. Honestly.
been there.
They were just like, huh?
Wait, your mom didn't allow you to have locks either?
I mean, like, no, but I don't know whose parents would want them
No,
to have
to be honest,
locks.
unless your parents have locks and like they're
Yeah.
okay. It's for them. It's such a philosophical reason as to why
Yeah.
they have it.
Yeah.
Philosophical reason as why they have it. I mean, they will not let you have locks. So for me, I knew my parents would not allow me to have locks. So I had to, and I just shot sugar, and so I had to use this to be like, I have a new movie that I got a new movie,
And it's part of the role.
and they want me to grow my locks so that, and don't worry, by the time I'm done with the movie, I'll cut the locks. And so randomly, I think after
You're still
a year,
shooting the episodes
after,
today.
Yeah, after a year, my mom asked me 8 years later.
still have locks.
After a year, my mom asked me, na ile
gosh.
movie kulienda aje? And I was like, what movie? She's like, I knew it.
Yeah.
There was no movie. You were like,
Exactly.
because you don't even remember your lies. I was like, oh my God, I've been caught. But I always wanted to have locks because I felt like for me,
Yeah.
I felt like I was paying homage to those who came before me. So the likes of Dedan Kimathi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have a
Marshall
tattoo of
Muthoni
Dedan, right?
Fadema. I have a tattoo
You do
of
have a
Dedan
Dedan.
Kimathi. I consider him one of my biggest heroes.
That's crazy.
I love that.
yeah.
How long
Because
did-
for me, my reason of having locks is so superficial.
Was what the girls.
The girls love them.
Well, it actually does add a lot of
You
points.
studied in international school.
Well, no, I went to
you?
study
Actually,
at
don't
boys
know.
and center in school.
You all started boys.
Imagine.
You're that smart.
is a
Well,
nerd.
thank you. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm
Afam
a
is a
nerd.
nerd.
We're nerds here. We're nerds here in this
This one I
podcast.
know. This one is a nerd. He's a
found-
geek.
We can't do that.
I always tell everyone, I'm like, oh, but do you know how I
But I'm
introduced
not
him? How I introduced him to Dilly?
Dilly is another producer. Do you know
Dilly, an
Dilly?
I
amazing
don't think
producer.
Dilly is another producer.
Dilly is an amazing producer. So how I introduced him to Dilly was like, Dilly, we were Java. I'm like, Dilly, these guys are not like you.
You guys can be nerds together.
You guys should be
So
nerds together.
so
You be
disrespectful.
friends. It's like
Listen, being a nerd
disrespectful.
nowadays is actually a benefit. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Who told you?
I'm telling you. I've talked to a bunch of girls who are always like, "Oh, we fuck with nerds nowadays." It's the
Yeah.
It's the in thing.
Where are they?
I swear, Sam.
know you
It's
can
the
hack
in
banks.
thing.
You can hack banks and make money.
So then it's not the nerd. It's not the nerds that they want.
Okay.
It's someone who has access to the money.
Like, how do we come from like very intellectual people like Rastas to nerds?
So I guess we also wanted to ask: would you say like your locks are like extension of your artistic kind of like tendencies? Because listen, you make music, you act, you're just a whole ass personality.
And you use them a lot for not as a prop, in terms of your what do you call it, your
My artistic expression.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for me, locks are they're an extension of who I am as a person.
Okay.
One, because I mean intrinsically, these things grow literally from my cells. It's not dead cells.
Keratin.
Basically, these are dead cells out of that come out of my being alive from my beliefs or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So if you think about it, I mean they're dead cells. They're from
it's weird that they are dead cells, but I don't consider hair as a dead.
It's dead.
I feel
it's
like
like
it's living.
nails.
it's like the rhythm with nails.
It feels like it's living.
Yeah, it's a living organism based off the fact that you are
Hold up.
breathing.
Wait, while we're still on living organisms, before I forget, have you seen the reports that
Oh, boy.
the Mexican government showed aliens?
Showed aliens.
They showed physical proof of aliens.
With one right here.
No, no, we are aliens.
Samare.
There are-
What?
No, there are
No,
theories that
sorry.
human beings were introduced into Earth.
By aliens.
We are the aliens.
I wouldn't be shocked because the way that people behave. Because the clients don't like pain. So I mean, clearly.
Clients who don't like paying are
out of
aliens.
this world
There are no aliens,
behaviors.
man. I don't believe it.
So it is an extension of where I'm.
Okay,
We'll
yeah.
go to the aliens part.
No, we don't need to actually. It's fine.
No, we will because I have a lot to say about UFOs.
We had to have a serious interview, not a serious
Imagine. Yeah,
conversation,
it's just-
not
yani.
about aliens.
I'm suffering.
I just
So-
called you an alien. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
So so I feel for me it's and I thank God because my hair grows quite fast. So I'm able to, play around with my hair when it comes to like, working with clients and
Nice.
Yeah.
just doing things and also for me it's really to really show people that yes, you can have locks, you can have rasta, and you could be a put together
Well,
person.
Exactly. Thank you.
You could be
Yes.
you could be corporate.
Not just bang.
You could
Yes.
be making money and still have because for me when I enter a room I will command attention. So whether it's a corporate room, whether there's a CEO, whether it's a president, I've been the president carried me in a wheelbarrow with my locks.
Who?
Whether with over my head like this.
Which president?
Which president do you know in this country? You think
The
we're talking
current
about
ones.
Tinubu?
There have been many. Hey,
We're talking about
so spicy.
we're talking about
Cool your tongue with what's in that cup.
the moto ni moto. We are talking about Ruto.
Oh, okay.
How far
He carried
behind
you
are
in a-
you? You don't know that Ruto carried me in a wheelbarrow?
Oh my gosh.
I don't go to your page. I'm not.
No,
I'm
you
not
didn't have to
on.
go to my page. Like
Oh, it
this
was
was
on-
like everywhere.
This
not-
was mainstream.
I'm not.
This was like, do you know Afam, Mama? You're just talking.
Afam's trying to make himself
I actually
seem like
saw
the
that. I
better.
actually did see that.
No, I did say something
Let me
like that,
look
but
for someone who actually messaged me, Jana, and then I realized now messaging.
wait. So you're an important person.
You'd not have me here if I was not important.
Okay.
You see, and then when he's trying to be spiced, then when I took him here,
He starts
Antoine is
catching,
so
he
rude,
starts
so
catching
mean.
Goodness.
feelings.
Oh wow.
This is just one of the many photos. This is half a page of a newspaper. This is one of the many photos that was
So how did
out
that?
there.
How did that come about though?
So me
Why?
and I specifically made sure that I put my hair in a bun, just because it's like I felt like I was going to war with like the
Oh, so you
what's the word? With just the quote unquote cliche like you shouldn't do this.
So for
I was
you,
like,
it was
yeah,
a
I did it.
statement. Was it a statement for
It was a
yourself
statement for me,
or
like
for,
a kid from Kawangware with dreadlocks in a bun with like many rings on his fingers,
Tattoos.
His tattoos is here.
Bullet- did you wear
easy.
a bulletproof vest?
Oh, by
I didn't
then I wore ripped jeans that day. Made sure they were both my
rapping.
knees. I looked
So
like
it was
I
a
suffering.
statement. You're trying to make a
Yeah, I
statement
was
to the
just trying to
president.
get money from Ruto. Like, you see how I'm suffering. So
You can't have rings on your finger looking all well put together and be asking for money. That's how not.
By the way, these things are made from spoons. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're still cool.
Yeah, they're still they're not cheap. So it was for you
spoons
know
might
what,
be
it's
cheap, though.
possible.
Yeah.
And I'm here steering a conversation. I'm here steering an event by by the president.
Yeah.
And all these looks and whatever, those things don't faze me. But it's also the thing about locks is also how you carry them.
Exactly.
Because the way you, like I said, the way you walk into a room and how people perceive you, your confidence, the way you carry yourself, the way you, and it is, I realize it's come with age. A lot of things I would have done when I was younger, would have probably made me more famous. I didn't do because maybe I was afraid. But now I can dress up in this, this bulletproof looking jacket and go to Java, go buy a newspaper. And people actually, when they see me like in Karen, they're like, oh, that's Anto.
Yeah.
So it's more of like if their kids are around there, they're like, oh, when you grow up, I hope you have that same confidence.
Yeah.
Rather than, what is he doing? What's his story? What? No, I'm not here to fulfill status quo's, boxes.
really good.
I'm here to shock status quo.
That works well for an industry, I think.
Exactly.
Especially an industry like ours. Where
Yeah, but we misconstrue that to mean that, having shock value in the sense that being mean or rude or vulgar,
Drama.
that's not dramatic. That's not what it is. Or just having scandals, that's not my thing.
you prefer to do it with style.
No,
Because
for me-
you tend to, you're very stylish.
Yeah, but
People
also
would-
for me, it's just even the things that are either my value system. That's what for me is. Those are the things that matter to me. Anything else is just for social media, honestly.
So I was, just doing my research. Being a nerd. And I saw an interview way back in the day where you said you were afraid of heights. But clearly you're not, because look at the heights that you've achieved in your career. See, look at Sam. Look at the material here.
That is the worst joke. What are you talking
That wasn't a joke. That was a nice wordplay.
That was nice wordplay.
Credit where it's due. And
Buzz.
that's something we need to talk about in this industry.
Yes.
Where people don't like giving credit where it's
Flowers.
due. So now,
Exactly.
since you said that,
Chukwa.
let me just... No. Let's... like I said, the older you get, the more you realize I've done a lot of great shit. It's very deep. I think it's the only platform ever that will ever talk about the things that I've been able to do. I have been on one of the biggest, most consequential
Talk your
youth show in this country, Sugar, with the likes of Nick Mutuma, Lupita Nyong'o,
Lupita.
Valentina
I haven't heard of those
Sharon,
guys.
Olago. I mean, I have done that shit. And also, I hosted one of the biggest, most influential teen shows in this country, that's Teen Republic.
Why do you feel like it's important to talk about that now?
Do you know why? Because
It's part of his
we're
heights.
it came out of
Me
first
not-
that question.
Yeah.
It's very important of why do you feel it's important to do it? Secondly, it came out of that moment that you guys had of just give me
Let me take my
that
flowers.
one, because we're very big on reducing people's
Accomplishments.
accomplishments.
Yeah.
And two, we're very big on reducing ourselves.
Fake humble.
And really wondering that, what are people going to think about me? Yani, you beat imposter syndrome by being able to achieve things. And then now you still have imposter syndrome as to whether you should actually tap yourself on the shoulder. So
Yeah.
no. So I have done great shit. I've released 2 albums. I have traveled Europe. I've done 67 shows in 89 days with a musical theater. I have performed in Mauritius, 3 nights sold out. I have done tours in SA. I mean, guys, I really feel like
Take
we're
your
so
flowers.
big.
Take your flowers.
Thank you. We are so big on like really reducing ourselves.
Yeah.
And then when you think about the scars that take you, for example, to have 2 fucking albums, how many of your legendary Kenyan musicians don't even have an EP?
Or an album.
And I have, and also on top of that, I have another EP that I've also done. I mean,
There you
guys, let's really love
There you
one
go.
to really, without making people feel like, make us feel like, we are gloating.
Yeah.
You should be humble.
Yeah.
And it's a very Kenyan thing we're taught by our parents. Don't shout.
Don't shout
Don't
and
scream.
whatever,
Don't tell people.
Just suppress that,
just don't be me. By the way, me, if I ever die, please, It will happen one day.
Yeah.
But I want to come back as a Nigerian because I don't. I have no.
So we have 2 Nigerians and one.
Yes,
And
this
one
one is
aspiring.
This one is a fake. Are you Nigerian?
Okay,
We're
whoa,
both Nigerian.
calm down, fam.
You're Nigerian.
Yeah,
He's half Nigerian.
I have
But you
You're
know this
Nigerian.
already.
fake Nigerians, both of you. Because me, no, bro. Please, Nigeria don't carry last, so I will not. Yeah,
Sam, the title of this podcast is An Aspiring Nigerian.
And this one aspiring
No,
Nigerian.
but anyway, like our
by the way,
primary.
I'm a Nigerian. My Nigerian name is Oluwasegun.
Okay, our primary.
Mayowa
Who gave you that
Oluwasegun.
name?
Yeah.
Who gave you that
He's
name? Or
given
you
it
just
to
went to
himself.
I was
Nigeria?
given
and
a
you
name by I was given a name by Brother Shaggy.
Oh, okay.
And the other one
wow.
was given by another one was given by Fields.
By Phil.
Feels the producer.
Please, what do you mean?
Do you
So I
have, do
show
you
you my
have
DMs with the Fields.
Okay, all right.
Let me
Whoa.
just show you.
Oh my
it's so
goodness.
sad that you don't have.
DMs with feels, right?
No. You don't have. You don't have a video because now would have really proven that I'm here chatting with Fields and how
All right.
he owes me.
I don't know where we should go first. I either want to do your link with Nigeria or we start with sugar.
Wait, even before we go that, because this is part of sugar.
And I need to see those DMs because I don't believe you.
Based off of just based off of everything that you've mentioned and you've listed, did you? Because our primary demographic is what, like 18 to 22-year-olds
Young
who
boys
listen to this.
and girls. Mostly girls.
Did you have like a plan? Did you think that you would be where you are now? Like, was it planned
At
out?
6-year-old, did you dream that you
I
would
don't
be?
even think I am where I want to be. Yet.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
So let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the thing for me is I knew what I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to see myself. For someone who fears heights, I love being in planes. I wanted to see myself flying a lot and traveling and
Nice.
and being on stages. For me,
Yeah.
my number one love is being on a stage and performing. Because ever since I was a kid, that's what I remember. I remember performing for the former president, the late president Moi. I remember performing for the late Cardinal Maurice Otunga. I mean, that's how my journey sort of started.
Yeah.
So, and even performing in school, in Lifetime Primary and in high school in Upper Hill. So, I mean, that was my thing. I always wanted to be on that stage.
Yeah.
But the thing is that as you mature into the industry, you realize then the way you sort of envision your life being is not how life will
Turns
construct
out.
for
Turns out,
you.
yep.
It doesn't pan out the way you expect it to be. But as things happen, as opportunities come across you, as you end up on radio, I never wanted to be on radio. I never thought I would be on radio.
Really?
But I envisioned, maybe, because I love talking, I love stories, I love interviewing people. Maybe one day I should end up on radio.
Wow.
And that really didn't happen until I was on CNN African Voices with Zain Vaji, and then I was also hosting in the public. So the boss of Nation FM then saw me on that show, and he was like, can this dude is a big deal, RJ, like this is being interviewed on CNN, African Voices,
Yeah.
It was about my song Paid My Dues.
Yeah.
And so and then he was like, maybe could you want to work, just leveraging on the brand then. And I ended up on radio. My ending up on an advertisement the first time, again, being true to yourself.
Yeah.
I was in the streets outside of Hilton with my cousin called, she's not Dr. Wangari Njathi. We were at Hilton waiting for the legendary Lenny Juma.
Yeah.
He's a casting director. We were giving him a script that she'd written.
Yeah.
So that he could go through it and see if there's anyone who'd be interested in, working on the film.
Picking stuff, yeah.
And then he was like, you have a really nice style, because I was wearing a fedora and on the side. And he was like, would you like to be in a TV commercial?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Please.
So on a random Thursday, I ended up, I think he took a photo of me. Actually did take a photo of me. I ended up at the audition, and the Indian directors were just laughing their head off.
Yeah.
So they already seen the photo and they really liked the look and how I looked. And that's how I ended up on the commercial that was introducing Orange to Kenya. So we're moving from Telcom to Orange. In the same sense of being who I am.
Telcom days.
Yeah, in the sense of being, and I was in and I mean, for my mom actually says it's very spiritual. I was on every billboard because she says that for the kind of difficult life we had and having like very difficult in-laws, they're basically seeing me in every single billboard all over the country.
Yeah.
Because on nationwide campaign. And then from that, they were looking for a kid who acted as a spoiled brat in a show called Siri. And because of the fedora look, they were like, there's this kid, we did a commercial with him.
Yeah.
let him come and audition.
Wait,
So
you
I
say
go-
kid? How young?
That's
are you?
me now.
How
That
old are
time
you?
I was like probably 21 or 19. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, that's
So
pretty young.
22 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, this kid, let him come to let him come to the auditions, and I think you guys will pick him. As I'm about to audition, the girls who are shooting tell me to remove the cap, the hat. Lenny calls them and says, oh, by the way, may he not remove his, because that's his signature.
Yeah.
And he looks really good. And I ended up getting the part. So
Wow.
working in Siri as an actor, again, randomly one day we're chilling by some big tree in Tigoni, and this one of the guys who's part of the production, creative director for an advertising firm called Rio, comes to me and tells me, you're in uni? Yes. So why don't you go to school and get me somebody who can come and intern as a copywriter? And I remember looking up and telling me, why should I go look for people when I
I'm
can
here.
do it?
What you can do?
Why would I? As now me in school, Niaje, who would like to get employment? And then me, as I go back home, I was like, I'm not getting anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So I ended up going to the interview.
Yeah.
I was told, go look at an advert and come with 5 different ways of how that advert would have been shot or done differently.
Yeah.
Just get a paper and show us how different that would have been. So I went, picked up something that, that was quite obvious to me, which was a telecom advert.
Yeah.
And I picked like 5 giraffes and I was like, let's show these giraffes in very different localities, like peculiar, that is. Like, let's say a giraffe in the city center, a giraffe by the ocean, a giraffe, let's say, actually viewing the wildebeest migration.
Yeah.
Like, look at there's drama there.
Oh, that's interesting.
To show the idea. And now that was like 21 or 22 years old. To show just my hunger for wanting to make things happen. And I hope that along this story, people are learning a couple of things. One, my hunger for what I wanted. So regardless of where I wanted to be, you cannot achieve any of that without putting in the work.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
You have to
Let
be-
me tell you,
be
even
prepared.
if you want to be a TikTok superstar, you have to
the
shoot
work.
those fucking videos. You have to put yourself out there, regardless of how uncomfortable it is.
Yep.
2, you have to enter into uncharted waters. Just throw yourself inside. Like, I mean,
It's
No,
true.
don't look at me like that.
No, it's true.
Look
You have
at
to
me like
be-
you have to
you
serve.
have to be very uncomfortable. This doesn't mean that you have to suffer. No.
It's all about-
no. I always believe I call it MEMO, minimum effort, maximum output. Just because
Nice.
you don't have to suffer until now, you have to actually have bruises and scars and be broke
Yeah.
for you to actually feel like you're actually achieving it. No.
Yeah.
Just be smart about it
How do you balance?
and have a plan.
How do you balance being uncomfortable and being yourself?
But that's the thing. I feel like being yourself is already uncomfortable enough. There's nobody who
that's
in
a
this
bar.
world, there's nobody in this
That's a
world
bar.
who is comfortable in being themselves. Because it is easier to imitate people. It is easier to imitate things we've seen. It is easier to imitate things we've learned or heard or read. It is easier to imitate others. But being yourself is one of the most difficult and most
things.
uncomfortable
there-
things to do.
I guess. Do you think there are limits to what? Not limits to what a human being can do, but limits to what they should do.
Yes, I feel like
which is what I'm trying to find out.
when you know that you've begun to lose who you are as a person.
Yes.
Because we all know who we are as a people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally know. Like, this is what I stand for, this is what I like, I don't like this, I have boundaries, I have lines that you cannot cross. This is what makes you as a person. So when people begin to cross those lines with you, when you begin to feel like you are losing yourself
Yeah.
by either going too far away from who you are as a person, then I think then there's a problem. Including, for example, I think I've been in those scenarios where I felt like, you're really pushed to, do this kind of hit songs, kind of sounds or whatever.
Yeah.
And you really feel like, I have to do this kind of a very cheesy song. I did a song called Paragasha a while back. I mean, that song was big. People love that song, but I have never performed that song with my band.
You didn't want to
Ever.
do it.
I don't like it at all.
Who made you do it?
I mean, just the pressure of like, people kept telling me, oh, Anto, you have such a good voice. You should really do this kind of. I was like, yeah, let me be the next Barnaba in Kenya. That time there was no Otile Brown. There was nobody. There was people not even doing this kind of like Swahili songs or whatever. So I was like, yeah, there's a huge opportunity for you. You can vocalize. You can sing. Why don't you do it? So I was trying to please their voices.
Yeah.
So I could find myself.
Yeah.
Well, along the way, everything that I was doing, every song that I was doing, every moment, every person that I met was constantly constructing who I am. So now I was stopping the construction to fulfill somebody else's foundation of building.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it too.
So you're
is.
there's a certain genre of music you like, there's a certain genre of painting or something you believe in, or coding, or art, or whoever you are as a person, even a relationship and how you view relationships.
Yes.
But then people will tell you, no, man, say that chick's not like, as we don't date people from this tribe. So so you begin to listen to them so much that it begins to take away who
you
you
lose
are as a
yourself.
person. And what you do is you fulfill what the image of a beautiful house looks like for them.
Yep.
But don't ever forget, they will not live in that house.
Yeah, and
You have to live in that house.
just going on that, like, this is the music industry, like, in a nutshell, because there's gonna be so many people telling you so many different things. And I wanted to get, like, now from your perspective, what other challenges have you observed within the music industry in all the years that you've been?
Yeah.
And would you say the industry has necessarily changed? Has your outlook shifted on the music industry? Like, what are your thoughts?
One of the biggest challenges is that we have a very know-it-all audience.
That's
Okay. Explain.
Expound, please.
I mean,
Please.
Kenyans who've never been to a booth, who've never recorded, who've never
Yeah.
sang, who've never held a
They
microphone.
know exactly how the verse is supposed
They're
to
the
go.
most here people who know everything about music.
And
Such
do you get
idiots.
this? Do you get these interactions on social media or in
It's
person?
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's Kwanda now that are the social media with their 1 gigabyte bundles in their self-contained rooms.
Bro, may love the
Is
1
when
GB
and
button.
sleeping on a mattress
Just
on the
the
floor.
1 GB I said there's a lot
It's
of
fire. The 20 bob one, man. I love it.
And then they complain that still it wasn't 1 GB really. That it's not even really 1 GB.
But it's not. Safaricom is playing a terrible game. But let's
play
leave
a
that.
bad
Me,
for
let me
later.
just say, can't be my.
No,
Can be you. Can be you.
me.
Minimum 24 GB. Minimum.
What is that?
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
It's
He doesn't buy bundles in the first
Unlimited,
place.
right?
That's unlimited. You see, I'm not saying this to gloat. I'm just saying this to mean
We are in the presence of
a
non-bundle use.
terabyte level, alien level. To be honest,
oh god.
we are very kiherehere, including myself, including you,
Okay.
including Afam. We are very big on, this song should not have been done like this. This song, I should have put drums. You know those Nigerian talking drums? If they tried it. We are so big on that bullshit that we don't even consume it for what it is. I don't hear you guys telling iPhone how they should have they should have had this kind of a lightning cable instead of USB, or instead of lightning cable should be USB. Y'all don't have those intellectual conversations as to how government should be run, as how we should be taxed, as to how we should end CBC.
But when it comes to art-
But when it comes to art,
Yeah.
you're so big
Yeah.
on being so elitist about who knows and who doesn't know art.
Facts.
We're so big on, it shouldn't sound like this.
Yeah.
It should be like this. Where, Amapiano is if you listen to Amapiano and how it came from Kwaito and jazz. And so Kenyans trying to do Amapiano. And Tanzanians now, and the Swahili piano. But you see the Nigerians took up Amapiano and now they're beating the South Africans.
Exactly.
And Kenyans trying to do it. Why can't you Kenyans do it also and find a way?
Okay,
Like,
so no-
first sit down.
I get your perspective.
up.
I get your perspective. It's very annoying, especially when it comes from people who haven't done this. You
Yeah.
see, me and Sam, we're in it. We produce music. We know about, like, arrangement and meshing genres and all that type of stuff. But I do agree with you. It's annoying when people who don't have, like, the experience of actually trying to make a song, being in the studio recording, figuring out
But
how
art
to.
is not only for the creator.
For me,
That's what I'm going to.
Well, I studied copyright. There was a class facilitated by Go Down, and it was a Harvard class called Harvard X. So I studied copyright. I'm just throwing out there in Harvard X. So my point is one of the reasons
This is
why
the Antoneosoul's credential
Thank
podcast.
you. One of the things we learned about copyright and why it's important for us to have definitions as to what copyright is all about and which kind of works you can copyright and you can't copyright. It was very clear that one of the things that they had to remove was the idea of elitism, which is the elites thinking that they could prescribe what copyright was and what copyright was. and to come back to say that yes, the audience do have a right to talk and to feel a certain way about our music. But also, it must be constructive in the sense that from which point are they coming from? If you don't like a certain genge song, switch over and go listen to some other nonsense. If your thing is Afrobeat, even if you're Burna Boy and you don't even like the word Afrobeat, call your music Afrofusion. We will listen to your album. We will move on. But we cannot be stuck in the nuances of how it sounds, of how whack the lyrics are, without any contribution towards the art form.
Towards the art form itself.
So you basically want to talk about a meal in a house that you did not help in budgeting, in putting money in, and you have a right to say that this music is shit, this food is bad.
But then from your perspective...
Pay for the food first and then tell me, but come to the show and then tell me, Anto, I will not pay for a 45-minute show, I'll pay for a 1-hour show. But don't sit in the house and then say, hata nasikia hiyo gig hata ikuwa 1 hour.
No, but from your perspective as the artist, like, I think you can understand, because everything you say is valid.
Understand what?
No, everything you say is valid, but that's fine. You can understand that from their perspective, like, what they say doesn't hold much weight. And so it can just be that.
Yeah, but
people are always going to talk.
My problem is when you have a congregation of fools.
I wouldn't call the fans fools.
You see, please,
I wouldn't call them fools.
Do not confuse fans and critics. Those are not the same people. A fan is a fan is a fan. People who love Antoneosoul, people who come to my gigs are fans.
Yeah.
My critics do not come to my shows.
I hate critics. That is a fact.
So stop saying that you don't call fans fools. Listen, if you're not my fan, you are a fool because you're not my fan. So what connection do I have with you?
Well, you heard it here first.
What connection do I have with you as Antoneosoul for me to feel bad about how either I feel about you or how you feel about me?
Yeah.
Why should I feel that way about you?
That's a good mentality for social media.
Why are you making me be emotionally aware and beware of what I think about people who don't feel shit about me? So I should feel bad about how I feel about people who don't give a shit about me, but they shouldn't when they're busy criticizing nothing they understand.
Nothing they understand.
So it must be two-way. You cannot use your bundles, your energy, your money to prescribe fake or undue judgment on my art.
Yeah.
And expect that when it's my turn to now remind you that, by the way, none of your criticism will change how I produce, record, or sound. That, forget about it. Move on. Go to where your frequency works. And that's why even when you think about programming, when you think about TV, when you think about radio, the things that air on radio, on TV, the reason why it's called program is because it is first, it's mental. It is very mental. It's programming. It's what we want you to be able to intake.
There's a negative connotation with that too.
No, that's why it might be negative. But now let's just focus on the fact here. And secondly, there's also the issue of frequency. You choose the frequency you want to be on. So it might be as negative as you want to think. We might decide we want to program your minds and how you want, but you choose the frequency. This is another days of Moi where you're stuck on watching one show every single day and the same thing, and you make demigods because we only have that one thing.
Yeah.
No, change it. Go listen to a podcast. If you feel like Kenyan music is crap, go listen to another one. And if my music is crap, there's other people you can listen to. There's Bahati, there's Otile Brown, there's Willie Paul, there's Antoneosoul, there is
Antoneosoul.
There's all those. You don't have to shit on me.
Yes.
And especially with fans who dislike somebody else. You don't have to shit on Afam to make Sam look like he's an amazing artist.
That's true.
I back that 100%.
So the thing for me is, let's have many fans and reduce the critics. Let people go to school. Let people study music. Let engineers, let producers be the critics. And as they have been the critics, before you go and do a podcast to talk about people's music and name call them, first call Sam and say, Sam Are, I've realized you're an amazing producer. There's something I feel
appreciate it.
You're really please. There's something I feel you're really trying to achieve here, and I want to help you get there.
Yeah.
My name is da. Can we meet up? Can I send some of my stuff? That is growing the
But
art.
artists also feel like they're above that. They're above that communication.
Well,
that's
you see,
the other
also
issue.
for me, and I'm not here to be every artist fighter, but I will be today. It's also the how we do it, not what. You can tell me, Anto, me, I didn't like this jam, but it's also how you do it. You can tell me as Sam and say, Anto, ingoma na produce ni Afam. Okay, let me talk to Afam.
Yeah.
I think it's something we can do with that track and we just do XXX. You see, if Dilly, for example, that I work with understands that the people who I bring into our ecosystem to help us with production are coming from a good place, he'll be open enough for you, Sam, to come to the studio and tell him, let's fix this up like this, let's change this up like this.
Yeah.
And then when you go to Dilly, you're doing it from a place of love. And by the way, guys, the number one thing we'll realize from this whole conversation is that one, it's love. Love is the greatest gift that a lot of people, everybody has, but they decide to actually practice hate. So if we do that and we do it from a place of love, I really genuinely feel like a lot of people will feel like, yeah, this makes sense for me. Look at the industries that are actually working. Look at Tanzanian industries, Nigerian industries. Collabos don't have to feel like an event.
That's true. It does feel a little bit eventish, yeah.
For them, it's not an event. For them, it's, I was just in New York and, Bana was around and we're like, let's hop into the studio. While in Kenya, it feels like it's because, and I don't blame the artists because people are so afraid. They're like, I don't know what the intention of this person is. I don't know what the producers, I don't know how the producers think about me. You probably had the producers saying shit about you. So you're like, I don't want to be in the same studio with that asshole. So I mean, it's such an event of like, let's meet at Java first, we talk, and then after we talk, let's plan, and then after we plan, let's plan what's the scandal we're gonna do around this collaboration, and then after we do the scandal, now we release the collaboration.
Wait, so
it should just be a walk in the park.
Wait, so artists actually plan on having scandals?
The fact that they're always the fact that it's a scandal. What do you mean? Kenyan artists are the best when it comes to planning scandals for releasing music.
Have you done that before?
Hey, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go to the studio, pay for the song, and then still sit down with our team and plan on, so how are we going to release this by line?
Yeah. Okay, so what would you say needs to... So I have this feeling, well, this is from my perspective, I feel like the Kenyan music industry is growing. What would you say we could do to even increase the growth further and catch up with some of these other, markets such as South Africa, West Africa as well? They're killing it. From your perspective?
Number one, the first thing I feel that we can be able to catch up is even the likes of Instagram at Chinas. Collabos really allow us to open up our audiences.
Okay.
We are very small on collaborating. We're very big on wanting to, but we don't love to collaborate. That's from an artist's point of view. And by collaborating, let's reach a point where we are trying out so many styles and so many things where now the audience feels like they no longer can say, oh, you just stick to Gengiton, stick to R&B, stick to soul. Like now it's like, it's a free for all.
Okay.
Let's just free for all, but also most importantly, let's love to consume our content.
Yes.
We now cannot talk about a point of we don't have bundles, we don't have streaming, there's no opportunity. No. There's a lot of opportunity for us to stream our own music. Let us stream the damn thing. Let us consume our stuff. This thing will only be built by numbers. We can argue all we want, and that's one of the things that Nigerians have showed us. And even them, we've learned. There's an artist yesterday, I'm not sure of the details. He died of suicide. I'm not sure about that.
I know who you're talking about.
And
rest in peace to
according to me, he looked like he was successful. But according to the standards there, he wasn't successful.
Yeah.
So I mean... it really makes you question, okay, so what is this idea of success and how does it look like? So I feel that personal success and being able to tick your own boxes is very important, but just do it. Just put your shit out there, regardless of what people say. They're always going to talk whether you do it or you don't do it. And that's why, even for artists who now look like they do like a lot of scandals, they've learned the art. They will put their life out there. You will talk about them and do whatever, but they're building their brand.
You know who I think is doing that really big now is Burna Boy.
Yeah.
I think Burna Boy is using...
even this idea of like saying that, my music isn't Afrobeat.
Exactly. He's using that to push, even though he's getting...
I just want to say his name. Rest in peace to Mobad, obviously.
He's not old too. He's
pretty young. And when I've heard of him, when there's one song that I very nice amapiano song with a fire video.
Yeah.
When you look at that, you assume, this is success. This is great. And then for someone to actually not be at the level where he wants to be as Nigeria, and that's the thing also, Nigerians are many.
That's the thing with Kenyans. Like I've experienced a few Kenyan artists, and they'll experience a very low level of success, but it is success. But
And
kind of think that
they
that's
carry
the
that-
ceiling.
Yeah, they carry. You
That's
carry
not
it,
the ceiling.
But let me
know?
tell you, where every single day you every single achievement, wear it with pride.
But also remember that there is more to be, because sometimes they forget that there can be more
That's what I'm
that can
telling
be
you. If we
achieved.
start behaving like Nigerians, yes, I was in a podcast yesterday. Look at me. Don't mess. Hiya. You've basically told people that I am important enough
Exactly.
to be a voice of reason in someone's podcast. But you want to keep it to yourself. When the podcast comes out, you're worried about sharing it. Everything you said there was yours. Everything you owned it. So share it.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to say anything anyway. So we genuinely have to come to a place of carrying ourselves like kings and queens. And this does not anybody who has a crown, whether it's tilting, it is falling off, you adjust that fucking crown and put it back on your head and you walk with your head high.
There you go.
Everybody who is given a crown, like we've been given crowns,
Yes.
it's heavy.
I think this
And
is
heavy is the head. So bloody carry that crown and own it.
this is an appropriate time to mention that Sam and I we were nominated for People's Choice Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Podcast of the year. Let's go. Let's go. So we're wearing that crown
So wear
right
that
now.
crown.
We're wearing it.
Tell everybody, let it be in your bio. Because also the thing I realize is when you don't own those moments where you actually win,
Yes.
you take away from what you're about to achieve.
That's true.
Because when you go to war and when kings and queens would go to war, the only way they'll be able to conquer and their conquests will be based off of the small wins that they received. And your own army, your fans, your family, the people who support, your producers, anybody who's around you
Yeah.
is going to be in the studio working diligently on your shit, knowing very well that even if we don't get 1 million streams today,
Yeah.
kama iko mtu mwenye huuza kazi yake,
Yes.
if there's anybody who pushes their product, it's Anto.
Yeah.
He'll be there like, yeah, bruv, me, I'm doing the ish. Don't mess with me. I'm putting myself out there. You do what you gotta do. But me, I know I'm putting I am the best.
That's
period.
That's the new format. I think even if we get back into music or just relate that to music, labels these days are not now looking for talent. They're looking for people who are almost self-sufficient.
Yeah.
In terms of you have the talent, but also you have
This is
you can push yourself. You master social media and everything. That's when now they take on because they're becoming lazy.
And by the way, let's stop asking people what's your talent. Even when they get into studio or even yourself today when you wake up in the morning or whatever, when you listen to the podcast, don't ask yourself what's my talent or write anywhere.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, as far as I'm concerned now, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
What you should really ask yourself is,
That's
what
true.
am I hard working at?
facts. That's what we've been trying to tell people. Because when we just talk about the music industry, so many people are producing amazing music. You have to have something
16-year-old in his
extra.
bedroom
Is
yeah.
it your work ethic? Is it your consistency? What extra thing are you putting
Hard
out there?
work
You know,
will always beat talent. Hard work
Always.
beats talent any single day. You could be the most amazing singer. You could sing.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't sing like me. You could sing like I don't know who. But bro, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not gonna put in the work, you'll always be like, hey, manze Antoneosoul, kwanga mwimbaji mnoma. Manze Antoneosoul, you can sing.
Yeah.
Manze Sam, you're an amazing producer. Manze Afam, manze yo, that song you produced. People will always, you'd always be about those things you did, the way you were great
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Da, da, da. Because, and then the person who can't do it, and I've seen this, and let me tell you, I was at a talent showcase hosted by Shofko. Was I having this conversation with you? I don't know who I was having this conversation with. And that means I talk to you too much. I need to
Entirely
block
too
you. I need
much,
to-
by the way.
I need to archive you.
Exactly, please.
I just realized I tell you too many things. So I was at this talent show and by Shofko, and I'm run by an amazing guy called Ken Odede, who you guys need to have on the podcast.
okay.
I'll organize for him to come here.
Bet.
He runs this amazing organization called Shofko. There's a school, high school for girls. I mean, there's actually an Hollywood movie that's been shot in his honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, he's called Ken Odede. If you don't know him, please Google him. You'll realize people have out here life
Shout
is
out to him.
difficult.
Yep.
So the talent showcase had amazing talent from Kibera. But there were these 4 guys who I actually, honestly, I really want to see them in studio. I feel like I want to sing with them, a song in them. So they're doing this this Kenyan drill, like sort of style.
Yeah.
And then one of the things they're doing is, hey. So I mean, it was so when they were doing that, That was a hook.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Everyone was on the floor. I realized these 4 guys might not be the Octopizos there. Might not be Octopizo, like 4 Octopizos. They might not be 4 Brooklyn boys or 4 like Wakadnali. But I realized these kids probably sat together and said, kuna hii competition. Na kuna do. Sat fanyaje. And they're like, man, this is my boys. We just find a way. We just find a thing to talk about in the hood. You took my chick. I'll come and finish you. Or in the hood, don't fuck with me. I can younger you in the hood.
That's drill music,
so these boys were like, why not? We've got the illest, whatever. There was one of them who was dancing. He was like amazing. I realized this is not an indictment on their talent. This is more of, they may not be the most talented kids on earth. There's nothing they did that was going to go viral in terms of like the hooks or the punchlines.
Yes.
But these ones, they might end up being at the same level of Cardinali because one, they decided, listen, with the goal was a 150K was being given for the winner.
Yeah.
The goal also is either we're going to become famous or get some girls. The goal also is to make some money and leave the ghetto. That was their goal. It wasn't, we're talented, let's go do this shit. So the ones who are talented never go for the showcases, never go for the talent events. And I was talking to Shamir, an amazing reggae singer, and we were saying the reason why people make fun of these talent shows is because they always say, where's the talent? Where's the talent? Well, they're forgetting the one who appears, the one who is present, a lot of times is the one who attains the gift. Not the one with the gift. Is the one who will be gifted presently.
That's
is whoever
so
presents
true.
themselves
It is.
might or will attain the gift. Not the one who feels they're gifted.
They're gifted, yeah.
And so these 4 kids might end up being such a huge deal that now we'll call them talented. But do you know what the talent is? The talent is hard work.
It's hard work.
So stop being
Showing
there, you're
up.
amazing, me, I'm amazing, I can't wait for people
Show
to
up.
hear me, I can't wait to blow up. With who? You're blowing up where?
Yeah.
Please.
And there's another side to that too, because fear tends to rule a lot of people's art, especially for introverts. It's like, we don't want to show up because we don't want to get to that point and not be able to perform. Now, if you're going with what you're saying, it's like, it doesn't matter. Just show
up and
there.
luck,
Yeah.
opportunity, and these things you say, Sam ameangukia. Afam ameangukia. Sam has angukia to work with this big producer artist. Afam, is now working with Ashake. That's all the things you say.
Yeah,
Amen.
but the Ashake, if you're listening to this,
Just
Anyway,
say
go ahead.
amen fast.
Oh, amen.
Fake Nigerians.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because if someone speaks life into
We're
you
all
like that,
fake
you say
Nigerians,
amen.
yeah. Even you're a fake Nigerian.
Samare is out here balling with Wizkid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
amen,
Not
amen.
today, it was yesterday though.
Supposed to say?
Yeah, no, I'm saying
You've already even planned that hangout.
it was yesterday.
Yeah, for
it
sure.
happened already.
Just say amen.
Oh my bad, amen.
Okay, but
So when we do all of that stuff,
Yeah.
let us understand that opportunity will only show up for you. Luck, money, all these things that you're seeking will only show up for you if you show up. And remember, you said about being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And about, being comfortable in knowing that it's okay to be uncomfortable. So as an introvert, being an introvert itself is not a comfortable place to be. Having anxiety is not a place, there's nothing comforting about it.
Yeah.
no.
So naturally, when you tell yourself, okay, now I need to find ways how I can beat me. Because I told you, you are your biggest, not enemy, you are your biggest obstacle.
Facts.
So if you decide that, you know what, I really know I'm in such kind of spaces, I'm very uncomfortable, but you know what are the things that I do? If you have to drink your chamomile tea, for you to just reduce your nerves.
Yeah.
If you have to watch something or listen to something that you know you really like, if you have to talk to your mom on the phone, if she's the one who you hearing her voice makes you feel a certain way before you go record. If I don't know, if you're like BN and you have to smoke your weed, I don't know what you gotta do. But what you gotta do is
You gotta
just
do it.
make sure that you do not, that your uncomfortable self
Yeah.
does not go before you and ruin the party of
Yes.
what could have been your bash.
Very insightful.
So do not allow your insecurities. I come from the ghetto. I'm not good at speaking English.
Yes.
I don't know how to present myself.
Yes.
Then if you're not good at speaking English, make sure you go with 9 fucking dope tracks in that meeting. And when you play every single track, Kanye West style, let everybody be like, let them think that, yeah, You might not be able to speak. You might look a bit weird. You might look a bit peculiar. But those tracks are fire.
Bro, I love...
Let the conversation be about that. Let the conversation be about you and your insecurities and your fear.
Have you watched the Kanye documentary when he went around playing the
He was just-
music to
just
Def
wasn't
Jam?
pay- she wasn't
Bro,
paying him
it
no
was
mind.
so- but I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like,
And remember,
have that self-belief.
when he went to pitch music, he went to pitch music and the label wanted him to pitch music for other artists.
Yes.
But he was very clear
That
this was
he
for me.
wants to be, yeah.
But you couldn't go into that room with thoughts and feelings. And this is how I think. And, I'm envisioning, Jay-Z on my track. And it's Kanye featuring Jay-Z. People don't listen to pitches and what documents when you're in rooms. They want to see and
listen.
That
feel.
is
I want to feel it, yeah.
So don't be
Yes.
out here, and I always tell people when I work with people in film, even you, when I've worked with you editing my podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, Samare is my podcast editor. One of the things,
Yeah, let's go.
one of the things,
If you want
and
Sam
one of the
to
one of
edit
the
the
things,
podcast.
one of the most important things that I love hearing every time
Yeah.
everyone speaks to me
Yeah.
is the quality of the audio.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. And because why? When I wanted to do a podcast, and I'll give you now my story of my podcast, I spoke to a lady called Jola, me and my love for Nigerians. Jola Ayeye, she has an amazing podcast called I Said What I Said podcast. Please go listen to her.
Period.
Jules. So I met her in South Africa. We became friends. I befriended her in my Kenyan Nigerian way. And then when I was planning the podcast, I spoke to her and I asked her, what should I do?
Yeah.
Like, what should I ensure I do? I really workshopped around the podcast.
Yep.
And also a big up to Adele Onyango for also workshopping me for a whole week.
Shout out to Adele.
To Adele. One of the things that the most important thing that Jola told me, no matter what you do, Anto, the audience can be okay with bad video, but they will never be okay with bad audio.
Yeah.
So I can sit here and explain to you, I can meet corporates, I can meet friends, I can meet partners who I want to work with and tell them, oh, I want to, there's this podcast. It's about scratching beneath the surface to find what really makes you human. Let's really get into our inner selves, and I want someone like Afam. I want to talk about, him growing half Nigerian, half Kenyan in Kenya and, the intricacies of that and his family. And then for Sam, let's talk about him moving to Kenya completely. So people are like, okay, so now that's an amazing story.
Nice.
It is.
So how does it sound like?
If it sounds shit, then
I don't know, but he's gonna listen. No
Yeah.
one's gonna want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I've realized that for the 3 episodes, one is a trailer, the 2 episodes that we've released so far.
Yeah.
If anything, people are able to listen to the conversation because of the amazing quality of sound. But also it's saying a lot about me as a person and how I take my product without any brand endorsement, because this is an Nation FM gig. I left that place a long time ago. This isn't a sponsored gig at where the quality is only as good as the name attached to it.
yeah.
The quality
And
is as
that's
great as me
Exactly,
and
yeah.
what I view.
I feel like that's one thing that we get wrong also in this industry is a lot of people they're just releasing music, and because it's this name and it's this person, like the fans, it just doesn't work.
Also, or when you get to a place where you have such a huge fan base and now you end up releasing music based on I don't know what, because the numbers are there.
Yeah.
Or you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
release music because I assume naturally 800K of them are gonna see. That's not how you're growing the industry. That's not how you're pushing the conversation.
It makes a lot of the
Also, again, that this also brings the idea of consistency is very key.
Yes.
And I always tell people, repetition is your reputation.
Ooh, repetition
Okay,
is
this
your
is hard.
reputation.
Okay.
Repetition builds reputation.
Yeah.
If people know, and that's the thing, may I tell people, when I walk into a room, when I go places, people know what I stand for.
Yeah.
When I get gigs, when I'm supposed to perform on stage, anybody who's introduced somebody to me, they just know Anto, by the way, anafanyanga hivi, and hivi. That's how he likes his things. So if it's a backline, if it is the stage, if it's how his band is gonna be treated, if it's if it is room, if he's gonna change clothes 3 times on stage, where's the changing room? That is who they know me for.
Yeah.
So my reputation precedes me because I have repeated myself over
Preach.
and over and over
Yeah.
through actions. And again, another lesson, show versus tell.
Yes.
I don't have to tell you about it. My podcast is amazing. My music is great.
No, go
I will
listen.
show you.
Yes. Do you want to say the name of your podcast? Because you
My
haven't
podcast is
mentioned
called
it.
Unlock Your Soul. My podcast is called, this should have been your job at the beginning of the interview.
No. I want you to shout out yourself, man.
My podcast is
Nice.
our platform is Unlock Your Soul with Antoneosoul.
Yeah.
That's basically the platform. So please make sure you go check it out.
Yes, please do.
And go and challenge yourself to be better.
So for me, I have one last question.
Mm-hmm.
So I know now you're in the PR world a lot, and
Yes.
the
You
people
talk about Nigeria a lot.
and you talk about Nigeria.
Let me be
a lot.
honest. I've made good money from Nigerians.
There you go.
So the people listening to this podcast are people who are aspiring in the music industry, professionals, so not just artists. Like, would you want to just kind of give us some gems on why PR in the first place is important and what your experience has been in that space?
Number one, PR means public relations.
Public relations.
The public is not your mother, your father, your sister,
That's not how you say it. This is
your children.
I didn't think this was going on.
That's not the public. Those are your friends and family.
Okay.
So when we talk about public relations,
Yes.
it is those people who should not care about who or what you are selling, but matter.
Yes.
And it matters how, one, they consume or how they think,
Yes.
or how they interact with your product. So when you think about the public, think about a couple of things. One, they do not care about you.
Yeah.
Two, they do not know who you are. And three, you are dispensable. So never forget that.
And replaceable.
And very replaceable.
Yeah.
So based on that, they do not know who you are, which means that even for the audience that does know you, you want to cement that this is what I am made of. I am still doing X. So let me give an example of some of the acts that I've worked with. I've worked with, and not directly with the artist. So
Yeah.
some of the PR stuff I've done was for Mr. Easy and Conscience, Walangolo. So if you had Walangolo, if you had that song in Kenya, my company, Paragasha, pushed that song out all over, just so the song could be out there. So we're talking about sending a press release to people in media, having it playlisted in radio stations, having it playlisted in playlists on Apple Music, on Spotify. That's basically what we were doing.
Yeah.
Then recently we did a PR campaign, or we also did a PR campaign for Rosa for her album.
Okay.
We also did a PR campaign for DJ Big N and Ira Star. And I forget someone else. The song was specific to TikTok. And so my job was to identify some of these TikTok stars and how they would specifically take this music, specific moments, and actually turn them into challenges.
Okay.
That was very big. The other one was for Bayani Tata, the remix with
Jason
Derulo. So that was one of our campaigns.
Okay.
And I've done other now for corporates like Generation Kenya, for even including PR for, my God, what's his name? For Sam Clef. Amazing Clef, sorry.
Yeah, Amazing Clef.
And also the likes of Somo in Kibera. So I've done a lot of these things. And this, first and foremost, it came from me having the need to really be able, one, to own your narrative. So regardless of having fans or not having fans, you want to own your narrative. And you cannot reach all of them the way that you desire or you require. So you need somebody, one, who's connected. I am very connected, I would assume. So because even the gigs that I've gotten from the Nigerians, it is purely because of someone saying, when we did ours with this guy, it was amazing. Talk to this dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so, and one of the labels, I don't know if I should mention, but the label that I work with is the labels that are actually affiliated to Apple Music. So they will, even when they don't have a specific artist or in the roster, they will tell other people from Nigeria or South Africa, or if you're looking for somebody in Kenya, look for Antoneosoul. So my job is to connect them with places they cannot be able to get connections
On
to.
their own, yeah.
And that's why you need PR. You need to be playlisted in mainstream media. Even when you think like, oh, I don't need, it's not a must, I can make it on TikTok. But I mean, you still want people to be able to Shazam your music in a taxi and get you extra streams. You want me to tell you, okay, I'm doing PR for you, but there's an amazing opportunity for you here to be on this TV show or to be on this podcast, which I feel would be a good deal for you.
Yeah.
It's me saying that Anyiko is my friend. I think I want to hook you up with Anyiko to be on her podcast and hope and continue to build your audience. So the number one end game here is even before you talk about making back the money, is to invest in people who might not know you, who might not care, and who might not really even believe in you.
Yeah.
So your job is to convert human beings, to convert people into believers.
Yes.
And that's what it is. That's what PR for me is all about. And again, like I said, is to create a reputation by repeatedly accessing places that you as a brand cannot access. That's what I do for. And that's, to be honest, that's where I get my money from.
Yeah.
Like for me to do my podcast and do music and travel, it actually is.
From there.
And let me tell you, from an insider after seeing the Nigerian industry, these people do not play with their PR. My God, they don't play with this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've listened to you guys talk about how do these songs, are they really hits, or they've really been made hits on TikTok? Nah, they don't care about those details.
Yeah.
As long as it's...
That's like, see, everyone will jump on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it's creating monsters of these TikTokers. Because now they feel like they are heaven and earth. And then if you try to get in touch with them,
Exactly.
I saw a Kenyan artist saying, yani mna dance for everybody else. Hata mulipui na wa Nigeria. I'm like, I wish you knew they're actually being paid.
They are being
And when I ask you
paid.
to do for a Kenyan, munakata. I'm like, you guys don't understand. These kids actually being paid. Even if it's 10K for a dance, they are being paid. And so the Akina Joe Boy and Akina Bayani and all these people, they understand that. And by the way, a lesson, nothing just goes viral.
That is, yes.
So stop
Nothing is
thinking.
nothing is
ati-
organic.
ati
Nothing is
naona Top Boy
organic.
kila mahali. Naona Barbie kila mahali. Bro,
It's
because
engineered.
Barbie bought
Yeah.
in matatus in Kenya, I'm assuming, if I was doing the plan for them.
Yeah.
Barbie took up DJ spots or those whatever things you watch in matatus.
Yeah.
They took up spots there. Barbie decided to brand a whole matatu Barbie. And you're here thinking that some owner somewhere loves Barbie so much they spent
decided
$1 million to paint her
yeah.
matatu Barbie.
Nope.
No,
They
they said, okay, let's put it. And I'm not saying that when you don't have the money that you don't deserve of the attention. What I am saying is, if you put in the work, if you build your networks, there'll be an Anto like me who you're creating rapport with, who will do this for you one day for free.
Yeah.
But get out of your comfort zone and meet people and build a relationship and build a network. And by the way, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is building your relationships with people. When people hang out with me, especially like my friends who are introverts, they always say my people skills are very, very commendable.
Yeah.
I will smile my way to some RS heart
That's
until he
wild.
produces my music. And then I become his friend.
That's
Because this one is an
wild.
introvert. Ask him. I bullied him until he started talking to me.
It did. It was bullying,
No,
honestly.
but for real, that's
Wow.
also something that
Bullying.
because
No, you just said it, so you can't.
because
now
me,
say, wow.
me and Sam are both introverts, but one thing
You're an introvert.
as well. Yeah, I
No,
am.
you're not an introvert.
I am.
I feel like you're an extrovert in denial.
Oh my goodness.
Afam is
when I
like
walked
you.
in, you were like,
Afam is good
"Hi."
at faking it. Yeah,
Ask
Afam is good at
Sam,
faking it.
Ask Sam. We've worked with Sam for a while now. Sam knows. I'm genuinely
he's
an
a terrible
introvert.
introvert.
For
But
real?
yeah, but you know, one thing that I've realized, just
You're an ambivert.
I guess so.
Yeah,
In this,
when the ambience allows, you become comfortable.
yeah. When I'm comfortable, I'm very talkative. But like I was saying, like one of the things I've realized in this music industry is, at first I used to try and figure out but it's all about networking and building relationships. And once you have those in place, then everything kind of just falls in
People,
place.
That's true.
people are so politicians buy their way into people's hearts. Who do you think you are that just your vibes and inshallah will make
It's
us
going
laugh?
to your good graces and your smile.
People invest in people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
let me tell you, even when I work with clients, some clients don't invest in me because I released an album Jana or there's this thing that I shot that went viral. They invest in me because of how I make them feel when they
You
interact
took the
with me.
time to call them on Tuesday just to congratulate them about
I'm telling
something.
you, even small things like what is the big deal? For example, when my album was it had like the most streams in June of last year when it just came out. So I've forgotten the name of these guys. They're called Africa Charts or something. Or Kenya Charts. They had they had like a whole like list of guys whose music was big that month.
Yeah.
So it was mine and Charisma's then. So that's June 2022. So I printed like a plaque of sorts for Dilly and myself. I put it in my house and put it on for Dilly. Dilly worked on my whole second album. I mean, do you know how that makes Dilly feel like?
Yeah.
Do you know how it makes him feel like that that fine, we had like the biggest album in June 2022.
Yeah.
But the fact that I went out of my way, and to be honest, it cost me like 1,500 bob just to print and, put the frame or whatever.
Yeah.
But me writing there and saying, Dilly, you're the baddest, because when I had a conversation with Dilly about how I wanted him to produce my second album and fully nobody else involved.
Yeah.
I had a whole conversation, I explained to him my soul and everything.
Yeah.
We agreed on payment terms and how he was going to give me a discount as a friend. We were doing all that because everybody had an end game. He put his heart and soul into that album.
Yes.
Me taking a framed copy of like this was the best. How it makes him feel not that he's a great producer, he's a great friend. And just to conclude on this thing about friendship, Oprah Winfrey, when she was retiring or whatever, she didn't really. She was asked.
She's retired?
Yeah. When she was
Really?
doing away with the whole Oprah, like the season,
show.
the show itself.
Oh, that's over.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Damn.
Sam, where have you
Sam,
been?
where have you been? That's been over like 10 years. My God.
Really?
Yes. She does Oprah Winfrey Network, which does films and stuff, but she doesn't do like
not
the
doing the
weekly
show
show
anymore?
she used to have.
Yeah.
That's over. So she was asked, what's one of the things she learned about human beings? She said, from the mother whose son died in a brutal car crash, and Obama, and Mother Teresa, and a nun somewhere that she interviewed. Even when she finished, before they knew the cameras were off,
Yes.
but as long as they knew the interview was done, one of the first things they'd say is, how was I? How was it?
Yes.
Human beings need validation. So please validate your friends. They will some way find value in you.
I mean, it's like the famous Maya Angelou quote where she says,
Drop gems.
let me drop a gem right now. She says, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's exactly what you said.
I think the podcast is over. Samare, I'm a bit disappointed
Why?
that you're not dropping gems like Afam here. I thought you'd be more, you'd be more invested in wisdom.
I'm spending too much time
before we wrap
picking
up,
them up.
Do you wanna suggest any song we could play for the outro of the podcast?
I think
What are you-
my song,
As long as it's Kenyan.
Yeah.
obviously mine.
Okay.
I think two songs.
Okay.
One is mine, one's not mine. One, it has to be Switch It Up by Antoneosoul, because you know how when you listen music, you always know anytime it's gonna be fire. And then you look at the numbers,
And then it's like, nah.
you're like, why do people love these sex songs so much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a cigarette, turn the lights on, turn me on, don't turn me on. Like a cigarette, turn the lights on, turn me on, don't turn me on. Just because I call you don't mean I don't speak to no one else. Don't take all the credit, baby. Just because I bought you dinner doesn't mean I don't eat out, baby. She's a 5-course meal, baby. And just because I bought you a red dress don't mean I don't paint the town red. With somebody else. So work harder, play smarter. I'm a G, I hit the spot. And I work harder, play smarter. I'm a G, I hit the spot. Like a cigarette, turn the lights on, turn me on, don't turn me on. Like a cigarette, turn the lights on, turn me on, don't turn me on. I told you once, I'm on to one. I told you twice, better pay the price. I told you thrice, don't roll the dice. I'm sugar and spice and nothing's nice. So work harder, play smarter. G, hit the spot. Work harder, switch it up smarter. G, hit the spot like a cigarette.
Switch it up, switch it up.
Turn the lights on.
Switch it up, switch it up.
Turn me on.
Switch it up, switch it up.
Don't turn me on.
Switch it up,
Like a cigarette.
switch it up, switch it up.
Turn the lights on.
Switch it up, switch it up.
Turn me on.
Switch it up, switch it up.
Don't turn me on.
Switch it up.
Take me there. Lead me there. You're not the only one who can take me there. Keep running, running. Stop walking, walking. Pace yourself. Run, girl. I'm waiting, yeah. Level up, level up. Switch it up, switch it up. Ride it up, ride it up. Si ulisema unaweza. Level up, level up. Touch your toes, back it up. Run it up, run it up. Run it up. Run that town, run that town. Wet it up. Ulisema unaweza. Show me what you got. Nionyeshe. Show me what you've got. Ulisema mengi, sasa tenda. Like a cigarette. Blow me on. Turn the lights on. Nice and slow. Turn me on. Let the R&B in the night. Don't turn me on. Like a cigarette. Blow me on. Turn the lights on. Bum, bum, bus. The touch of your love. Don't turn me on. And then the other one would be Jadala by Lisa Odorno.
Oh, I love that song.
Because I really love that song. Jadala.
I love that song. Yeah. That was my
Fire,
most
fire.
the year that came out, that was my most streamed local song.
Like for on your
On
like
the Spotify wrap up. Yeah, that was my most streamed.
In my
No, might have been my most streamed
bottom,
song
your
actually.
head. I love how he's just destroyed my singing.
It's okay. We'll,
The fans
we'll
are like,
sample
"Sia nyamaze
that.
tusikie antu akiimba."
Go ahead.
In madwaro mio herana osepchu. Ooh. Love ain't nothing like in the movies. Fairy tales left me confused, but don't love make you choose it. Stressful, keep putting I said, guys, belated birthday to Sam Are, who celebrated his
Happy
birthday to you. That's all. He doesn't get more than that.
Okay.
And then, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Gosh.
Happy birthday, Sam. Guy, you people
Thank
look
you.
like children. I was asking you because you look like you're 19.
How
Yeah,
old
a
are
lot
you?
of people say, look, yeah.
Guess.
I read that you were 37.
Now I told you to guess, not what you read.
Oh, I would guess that you are 25. That at the maximum.
I'll buy you cake. You are very, I feel like an old person who's been validated by a kid. But you look 35. And that time you're 60. So I'll buy you a gift for making
aged
me
well.
feel like, oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah, but to be honest, I always wanted to be those celebrities who didn't give out their age.
Yeah.
But then I made a mistake. I sent this idiot my PDF of my profile. They were supposed to cut and paste what they went and put the whole thing online. So it's always been ripped off from everywhere.
I even know your birthday.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's on that. It's on this website where apparently I
You're
had.
37 for real?
Yeah, I'm turning 38 in November.
November 9th to be precise.
Didn't say what time he was born during the day.
No, but
Listen,
it
I
gives
feel
the
you.
year.
I was born at midnight.
When they
Oh,
broadcast all my names in the newspaper, I felt really terrible about
I
that.
found out
just
he
like,
was called Jedida.
Jedediah. Bro,
Oh,
yo, that's some
Jedediah.
respect, bro. What
Sorry,
are you doing?
Jedediah.
Jedediah. That's a
No, but also I'm on Afam's. Do you think that's an easy name to just go out there and say?
Jedediah. I don't even know how I got that giant. It was like my grandmother probably.
But anyway, yo, listen, thank you so much
Hold
for.
up.
Hey, no.
Okay.
You can't just rush
So,
over it
because
like
this
that.
is an audio-only podcast, I can report
He
that
is-
he is currently on his phone. He is
looking
Googling
for
something.
We hope it shall be
Yes.
of value.
His fingers are typing away.
So
Okay.
Jedediah means
Oh,
Oh, all right. Well, there we go.
is a Hebrew male given name derived from the name Yedidia.
Yedidia.
Meaning beloved of Jah. Hey, okay.
Oh,
I should have locks.
God's beloved.
Jah loves you. Okay.
I should have locks. But okay, then that means because
Second son of King David and Bathsheba.
all my names mean that.
Oh,
That's
Sam.
sort of what Samuel
So
means. And
now
that's what
we also have other
my
names that
middle
like
name.
short forms: Jed, Jedi, Jededish, Jedi, Jedediah.
Jedediah.
Can we agree to start calling Sam Jededish? Jededish.
So
not
thanks so much
passing.
for listening to the 30% podcast.
Wait, no, it's our show. Let's outro our own show, please.
Thank you so much for listening
Alright,
to
go
the.
ahead.
No, this is a first. This is a first.
Thank you so much for listening. It's very insightful.
Antoneosoul.
Episode 42.
Episode 42.
Okay. Thanks so much for listening. It's a very insightful episode 42 of 30% podcast with yours truly, 70% Antoneosoul.
Oh, wow.
Also,
I
really
planned
filled up
that one.
30%.
Kindly remind the people to vote for us for People's Choice Awards.
Yes, please. Because your voice carries,
Yeah, your
and
voice
we'd
really
like
does
you
carry.
to-
Thank you. I don't care about the sarcasm. Your sarcasm has a tinge of truth. So thank you so much for listening to.
Wait, I'm waiting for the People's Choice Awards shout out.
I was going there.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I have to do a clean one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank you so much for listening to the 30% podcast. And I'm yours truly, 70% Antoneosoul. And of course,
70%.
hosted by two of the biggest producers from Africa. I'm talking about Afam and Sam Are.
Sure, we'll take
And
it.
of course, please
We'll
make
take
sure
those flowers.
you go and vote for us. People's Choice Awards for Best Podcast of the Year. Without you guys, there is no us. So please just remember that we need
Yes.
you to make this a possibility. And as we
Wow.
do that, a big shout out to Jededish,
Jededish.
who celebrated
Why
his
do I sound
birthday.
like I'm listening to the
Who
radio?
celebrated his birthday 2 weeks ago. Yeah, happy birthday, Jededish.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday,
I
Jededish.
appreciate my future past birthday.
All right. Well, thank you.
Now you can do your outro.
No, that was really good. Thank you so much for pulling up. As always, you can find us on all the streaming platforms and all
Everywhere.
the
Most
social medias
wares.
and LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
Yo, Sam,
That
that
was-
was fantastic.
Thanks to Anthony Mwangi
Wow.
Ndongo.
I used
Your
to
father.
pronounce your name Antonio. So
Yeah, it's
It's
not
Antonio.
Antonio.
So,
It's
and my name is not Anthony. My name is
Mwangi.
Anthony.
okay.
I
Thank
have
you
a
for
thing for numbers. I don't know what that thing is called. That mental thing with numbers. It can't be odd numbers. It has to be even. So Anthony Mubu Angi. Like I do my things in fours. If you have a mental condition like me, you'll know that issue. Or like you You don't have that thing where you're like in a car and you're busy subtracting, equaling, multiplying number plates.
No, it's just you. I'm sorry.
Well, they said that aliens are brought to the world.
Yes.
Well, I'm clearly the only human being here.
On that bombshell,
I was looking for how
we'll
to
catch you on episode 43.
Where else would you find such information?